to show, full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria, Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal live stream show and podcast. How are you this morning? Yeah, talking of podcasts, a little bit fatigued this morning, muito cansado, because I was up really late last night trying to make a video to show people how to create their own podcast. Make your own podcast now in a day. Start today. Was the working title of my video, but it was getting to 1:30, 1 o'clock. 1:30. I better go to bed now. And I still didn't complete. I like to do these things quick and dirty and get something done. I don't like to let the excellent spoil the good. It's one of the principles I was talking about, actually. Just do it and keep going. Keep it simple. Don't let the excellent spoil the good. They're my guiding lights in life. But I fell foul of them. There are always exceptions to prove the rule, aren't there? So back to the drawing board. And yes, a little bit worse for wear. Staying up too late, not sleeping enough. Hope you're well this morning. Hope you're well rested. We've got Wiley to shine some light onto the screen. Some Wiley light from Cascais live later on. There is a fly in the studio. If nothing else, you can watch the entertainment of the fly landing on Carl's forehead from time to time. It's fly season here in Portugal. And also frog season. I thought it was a house alarm, security alarm going off as I sat with Mrs. M in a brief moment of relaxation yesterday evening. Cup of tea after our evening meal. And in the distance, a frog, quite keen by the sound of it to find a mate. I'll try and record it for you. It was quite extraordinary. Lots of wonderful nature things to share with you this morning, which includes a local swimming club, wild swimming in the sea. That counts as a really natural thing to do, isn't it? A reflection of nature. So I've got quite a mixed bag for you this morning, actually. News from San Martinho de Porto about the upcoming Festa. 9 days of music, would you believe? Quite extraordinary. Oh, the old jandals, the jean sandals are causing quite a stir on my timeline, as are some of this community. Just checking in with you all this morning. I decided to compartmentalize the political and spicier elements of the show onto a new evening show on a Monday night. My question to you is this. That's the name of the new live stream podcast show where we can tackle the political issues. I was going to say it seems to be going well. I'm not entirely sure about that. A few of my friends here, and you are all my friends, taking chunks out of each other. But thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that over there and not here. That was the whole point, is that we don't have that happen here, and that we have some as close to some peace and harmony, love, peace and harmony. What's wrong with a little love, peace and understanding, right? Especially in these times. So that compartmentalization is working, but I was still a little sad to see my friends going at each other in quite the way they were, but glad that it's over there and just checking in with you to see if you're okay. I don't know. I think if I'd been through that process, I'd be exhausted and upset. I don't know if that's the case for you, so I'm just checking in. Hey, Annie! How you doing? How's married life, Annie? How's the honeymoon going? In the old days, the newlyweds would, of course, daub each other's lips with honey, wouldn't they? And speak only sweet things to each other. I hope you two are doing that and can continue to do that for a month, okay? No rowing for a month. You're beyond such things anyway, aren't you? But I had such a lovely time with Annie. Congratulations to you both. That's fantastic. And lovely to see you here this morning, Annie. How's it going? Okay, and yes, this mixed bag, this potpourri this morning, this podcast potpourri for you. Let me see. Where do we start? These are the ladies who go into the sea. Where's it gone? The picture's disappeared already. That's really... Oh, no, here it is. the SMP, San Martino de Porto Mindful Nadadores. And I did have to, I'm going to look that up now because the Nadaduro is a place along the way there, isn't it? And we often, because something's a place name, we don't try and find out what it means, do we? It's just, it is the name of the place, and no further a translation or etymology is required. It's the swimmers, of course, isn't it? So Nadaduro with a U isn't going to be the golden swimmers or anything like that. Why Nadadura then? And here are the Nadaduras. Do you know what? If like me, you're feeling a little sleepy this morning, I think this might enliven, if not shock you. Here's the video of them going swimming. Oh, I might have to give you a commentary on this. I thought they might be screaming and hollering as they made their way to the sea. And I was looking forward to having a little sip of my coconut water this morning. Hold on, I will have a sip of the coconut water. Let's see what happens here. Are these last two ladies going to dip their toe in and then run back, I wonder? No, the lady in the turquoise T-shirt is going in anyway, as is the other lady. All five are now in the water in San Martino de Porto, the wild swimmers of the bay, the mindful. They're using this as an exercise in mindfulness. And I think it's fantastic. I think I might join them one day. I haven't been into that water anything further up than the knee. And I'm going to do it. These ladies are inspiring me this morning. Oh, one's in and swimming. 2, 3. 3 in, and the other two are just, I don't know. But yes, turquoise lady is in as well. She's not messing about. And so's the other lady. The other lady doesn't want to be left behind. And there they go, swimming not to California. In submerged, and turquoise lady very happy with herself. And so she should be. Go to the Silver Coast Mind Body Spirit group, I think, which is where you can find out more about these lovely ladies and their brazen bathing there, the Brazen Bathing Club of San Martino de Porto. Isn't that fantastic? I don't know if this is what they officially call themselves, the SMP Mindful Nadadores. There you go. Superb. Thank you very much for sharing that with me, Jacqueline. And staying in the bay. Let's stay in the bay for the moment because we have Wiley at 9, of course. Wiley is going to share with us her guide to loving life in Portugal. How good is that going to be with her American and Swedish roots? But there's the bay after the meetup yesterday. Now, don't be thinking to yourself that we cleared the area. It's very quiet at the moment here in the bay. That's going to change in the next few days, I think. But it was beautiful yesterday. I arrived at the meetup at Nelson's about 1:45. I like to get there a little bit early if possible. Not always the case, but I do like to be there early. If you're always early, you're never late, right? I'll come to your comments in just a moment. Can't believe it. I've been chatting for 10 minutes already. But we had one table. A couple arrived. Another table, couple, and we kept putting tables together, and it was raining at this point, or drizzling and a mizzling. Turned out nice, as you can see from the photo there by the end of it. But at the beginning, very doubtful as to whether we should be outside, and the tables and chairs were still wet outside. And we had one table on arrival, and by the end of it, we were just adding tables, and we had 7 tables end to end. It was a lovely sight, refectory style, and very noisy. You visitors yesterday, but really lovely. Each and every one of you. Won't thank you all in person. Some of you might not want to own up to being there even, but thank you to a few regulars and to some new people. I will shout out to Susan and Leaf, who are here for the first time. So it was so nice. It's so interesting and lovely to meet people in real life after I feel like I really get to know people online. And then it goes to a new level when we meet in real life as well. So lovely to meet you, Susan and Leaf. And thank you to all the other regulars and noobs who turned up yesterday to the Silver Coast meetup. Don't forget, we're planning something similar in Portimao. If you want more details of that, and interest is dribbling in at the moment, and you can get in touch in the usual way, and I'll connect you up with Jack Polly there, who is taking care of business and hosting there. If that's the offer on Portimao Quay there, with a nice big glass of sangria, that's going to be a great thing to get involved with, isn't it? Okay, let's see who's in this morning. Oh, no, before we go there, I also just want to show you this. The reason why I'm saying San Martino de Porto Bay is going to go from this to barely being able to see an inch of sand, it's because the Festa is on its way. The Festa de Sant'Antonio from the 10th to the 19th of June. Look at this. Emmanuel, Maxi, Miguel Azevedo, Monica Sintra, Toy is there, the interestingly named Toy. Tanya, Miguel Bravo, Chakra are there playing as well. 9 Miller. What is that? Is that like 9mm? Oh my goodness. That's an awkward name to have right now, isn't it? And Somos Portugal, the TV show, will be there on when is that? That's the Saturday, is it not? The Sunday, beg your pardon, the Sunday, the 19th. That's quite amazing. And there is a programa religioso as well. It is the Festa de Sant'Antonio. So there is if you want to honor St. Anthony, who was, although he's called St. Anthony of Padua, and the Italians claim him, make Gaston tourist information. The man to know in San Martino de Porto, he assures me that Sant'Antonio was Lisbon born and ended his days in Italy, but is well and truly Portuguese. So there you go. 9 days of entertainment at San Martino de Porto. Well worth coming over for that. You could stay further inland at Alcobaça, couldn't you? You could stay in Caldas and then pop to some of that action, some Festa action at San Martino de Porto from the 10th to the 19th. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to pop along probably to go to see Somos Portugal. That's a TV show where they are experts in outside broadcast, basically. They just rock up around the place all over Portugal. And have a bit of fun talking about local culture and meeting local people. Very good. Excellent stuff. Well done, San Martino de Porto. What a place. What a place. Yesterday, of course, so let's go to your pictures. Anna, I said that, of course, and I forgot to mention this yesterday. It was Children's Day here in Portugal, the 1st of June, where the innocence of children is celebrated. Isn't that a lovely thing to celebrate? The love of children and their innocence celebrated in Portugal on the 1st of June. Forgot to mention that yesterday, so let's do it today. And some lovely pictures there. Uma de Junho de 2022 there. How lovely is that? Some kids' pictures. And all sorts of things in honor of children yesterday all over Portugal, including popping to McDonald's after school. I saw some pickies as a treat for the kids yesterday. Okay, let's go see who's here this morning. My goodness, the coach is in. I saw that very quickly. T-Duck is in. Bom dia, alegria, campers. Apenas mais dia de paraíso. Wishing you another day in paradise, right? Having another day in paradise. Portuguese sayings, loving these, tirar o cavalinho de chuva. Take the horse out of the rain. These are fantastic. Don't count on it. Take the horse out of the rain. A galinha do vizinho sempre é mais gorda. The neighbor's chicken is always fatter. Yes, there you go. The grass is always greener, but they're done in a Portuguese style. You can't eat grass. Although maybe there is a Portuguese recipe with grass and cabbage in it, but it's much better to be talking about something you can properly eat like a chicken. If you're Portuguese, the neighbor's chicken is always fatter. A galinha do vizinho sempre a mais gorda. Are you learning some Portuguese with these? I am. Vizinho, that's a good one. Tempestade copo d'água. Hurricane in a glass of water. Storm in a teacup. Much better than storm in a teacup. The old tempestade copo d'água. The hurricane in a glass of water. And some anonymous quotes from T-Duck. Just tell me when and where, and I'll be there 20 minutes late. Just between you and me, that is quite Portuguese. Talking of Portugal, Portugal plays Spain tonight in Spain. 7:45 kickoff. And I'm actually quite upset about this. I wish Santa would publish the naughty list. What a great way to meet people. Very good. But tonight, Portugal's fixture with Spain. I'm going to be on the webinar tonight at 7:30. I have to keep. Maybe is there somebody who would happily feed me the scores while the webinar is on? I don't want to take anything away from our VIPs tonight. It is one of our Ask Our Expats hosted evenings, a very social evening, the first Thursday of the month. I thought I had a picture of it here. Anyway, the picture doesn't tell you that much more than I'm about to tell you now, which is it's quite a hangout, and hanging out with people who are newly moved to Portugal in the last few months, probably tops a year. I mean, it's quite good, I think, talking to people who've been here for a year, because a lot's happened to them in the 4 seasons that they've been here. Someone fairly fresh, a month or so, Phil will be with us tonight and taking the baton live on air from Amit, who was on last time. The reason that Amit's coming back is because the questions typically it's like here, isn't it? On a Monday, when Gilles is in answering migration questions, the questions people get inspired to ask questions, triggered by other people's questions, I suppose, or they're shy or whatever. And whatever reason it is, there's an exponential curve of uprising in the amount and volume of questions that comes in towards the end of any of our gatherings, it would appear. And this is no exception. And Amit didn't manage to answer some of the questions, and I think felt possibly misrepresented by some of the responses. So he's going to be back to address some of those things and hand the baton live to Phil tonight from 7:30, and of course Premium Plus from 9. So I might be able to see a little bit of football between the two. But come on, Força Portugal. Portuguese people taking this very seriously ahead of the World Cup this year, of course, as a little bit of an indication about their form. Heronius Maximus saying yesterday, of course, that it's a really terrible time to play football. They're all exhausted, but we'll see. We'll see. What's this? Dodd Squad. That should be God Squad, surely, Ian. How are you doing, Coach Turner? Rest is as important as exercise to maintain good health. So chill, relax, meditate, whatever works for you. Release the stress and have a great day. Mrs. M's just come into the studio to do that right now, I think. How can I help? Coming in here all like that. Put some clothes on. You're looking for your what? I'm not guilty. I'm trying to do a live stream here. Do excuse me. Morning, everyone, she says. The real measure of your wealth is how much you'd be worth if you lost all your money. That's a good one, isn't it? In this day and age. 15 million. Johnny Depp's 15 million richer, isn't he? But without all of that, which could have happened, right? What would have been his real measure? That he can hang out with Jeff Beck. I said, is that what happened? Is he hanging out with Jeff Beck? Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz quinta todas. Como vai? Nice one. We don't often hear that, do we? Como vai? How you doing? Tudo bem? Como estás? From James. How are you, James? And James from Tony. How you doing, Tony? Good morning to you. And a Will Rogers quote of the day. Common sense ain't common. Well, ain't that the truth? We know that, don't we? Oh, yeah. And the Santa's naughty list. Maybe we could publish that between us. We could make some good guesses about that, couldn't we? What a great way to meet people. Just doing a bit of naughty list networking. Nothing to worry about. Okay. Tony, and Banana Slug from Moaz. My God, it took forever to type your name. This is the problem, isn't it? He keeps doing it. And you're just typing in James's latest name for the week, and the end of the show pops up. Chris is in as well. Morning, Moaz. Hola, bon dia. Faija do dia is Sayar People. Star People? George Michael. What track is that? Sayar People by George Michael. Is that a typo? Oh, that may be right. Okay, by George Michael. We're not featured George Michael this morning. Tell us more, if you will. And James instructing Moaz how to address him this morning, and appreciates the effort, Moaz. Well done. Great tip. Not in the forest. Learn something new every day. What is a tip, though? If you just use @ and the first two letters of the actual name, it should pop up. Oh, autocorrect there. Or if not accurate, then at least funny potentially. And T-Duck, we should all change our names to something at least 20. No, we should not. No, we should not. Go away, James and T-Duck, with your mischief. Bon dia from Miguel. Miguel's new to the scene here, right? And we're enjoying your contributions, Miguel. Luis Souza Dias. Do we call you Miguel or Luis? I wonder here. Let us know. And what brings you here? Are you a friend of Lee McGrady's, I wonder? Is that what brings you here? Not more than 49 letters. That appears to be the limit. He's one of those people that test limits, obviously. On that note, Portuguese people tend to have long names. Yeah, maybe this was designed with Portuguese people in mind. Miguel's mum has 6 letters. Not 6 letters, 6 names. 6 parts to her name. Shout out to Miguel's mum this morning. I may have miscounted. He's actually counted, but miscounted there. My goodness. Buddy, great to see you yesterday. Wasn't it lovely? 1 table, which turned into 7 tables yesterday at the meetup. Bon diddly alegria. I had a lovely day in the making. Sarah's in as well. Bon dia, Gumpus. How you doing? And Deagle, how's your holiday going? Bon dia, Carl and Gumpus. Heading home to Belfast? No, not already. A beautiful 10 days in Portugal. You haven't been there that long. Alma Santa Pera in the Algarve, now countdown to October starts. I can't believe it. You haven't been here for 10 days, have you? No, I won't. I will not hear of this. Jandis, are you Icelandic? Wow, Miguel knows his geography, doesn't he? Or etymology or something, anyway. And Miguel, are you new here or have you been lurking? Which is, he's having to explain that. Good morning, Portugal joke for silent observer. Well, that's just a part of it. Silent observer indeed. But yes, no offense to anyone who's lurking. We love a lurker. No problem with that. We're looking to buy, we're looking at buying an old manor house with some apartments with it. We've had it surveyed and to renovate both units, especially adding heating and full insulation, is around 135K. Is that just the improvement work, or is that all in? What's going on there, Gary? I loved your pictures yesterday. Are there any grants available for such rebuilds? Oh, let's put a star on that. And not because you're star pupil or anything like that, but so I can remember it. We can ask Wiley. Wiley knows about these things. Any questions about renting or buying, especially in the Cascais area? Wiley's your woman for that. She'll also be talking about how to love life in Portugal, her very own guide. We heard that the VAT can only be reclaimed on labour and only on certain work, but not materials. Any thoughts? Anyone, please let us know. Miguel might know that. I'm subscribed as of yesterday. Excellent stuff, Miguel. And I think I had been here before. I am Portuguese. We guessed, I'm not sure what it was, Miguel, that gave it away. Miguel Luis Sousa Dias, but there was just something about you that made us think you might be Portuguese. And let's do a little bit of this now. Where's the slide gone? No, not that one. Come on, hurry up, Cole. Miss your chance. There it is. Down. Don't more. That's it. I remember what happened the last two times. I managed to hit the button again. Ha! You didn't get me there, jingle. Okay, today in Portuguese history. Thanks, Prof. 1944, Salazar refuses to stop selling wolfram tungsten to Germans. Salazar informs the British ambassador Campbell of the decision taken by Portugal, stressing the economic importance of the problem. According to the head of government, the wolfram or tungsten mines. I didn't know that tungsten had an alternative name, wolfram. The mines employed 80,000 Portuguese. What? I bet that was a filthy job as well. Generated between 9 and 10 million pounds a year. Never mind about your war. We've got an economy here, says Salazar, and guaranteed the treasury around 2 million pounds per year. And obligations assumed to third parties. Tungsten was used in the making of munitions by German allies. I think that goes on to say there. Yes, by Germany and the Allies. So both sides were buying tungsten from Portugal, which Salazar, it was an equal opportunities purchase there. Maybe the highest bidder by the end of it. Canny so-and-so. Not in the forest, the slug, muito bem, obrigado. On my iPhone, the names don't pop up after the @ but they do on the computer. Just so you know, everybody. The problem, says Moaz, is on the computer. I don't have Portuguese autocorrect. What is this Portuguese autocorrect feature, and how can I get it? I could do with that in my life. I am subscribed, so don't worry. I'm not a lurker. If we're not worried, we love a lurker. I just guess it sounds bad, doesn't it, lurker? But there you go. You're most welcome. Lovely to see you here, Miguel, and with all your contributions as well. Obrigado. Estou ansioso pela apresentação de Wiley. So looking forward to Wiley's guide to loving life in Portugal this morning is Miguel. And YL is here. YL. Hello from lands far away. Very mysterious. Talking of lands far away, I don't think you are this person in a land far away. This is in from Martin. Currently over, or recently, I don't know where he is right now, but a picky from New Zealand. Look at this out of the window. Isn't New Zealand beautiful? We have people who are from New Zealand or have an association with New Zealand. That's the second one in a fortnight. A New Zealand contact here. Thank you very much for sending that beautiful picture of New Zealand there. And we can go to a video clip. Did I download this yet? But I'll let you save a New Zealand home of Lord of the Rings for a moment. As we go from New Zealand to South Africa, Francis, good morning to you. We have been talking about herons. We had one on the show yesterday, Michael Heron. But look at this. I thought herons were solitary birds. Check this out. Yes, there's no sound on the video. But isn't that beautiful? And he thinks, oh, this V is so wide of herons. What is it? Skein? A V of herons anyway. What is the collective noun for? Look at the size of that heron V. going down the street, almost mirroring. And there's more coming through. I had no idea herons were communal birds like that. I'm used to seeing them. I think I've only ever seen herons alone. Never seen more than one heron in one place. Let me just move New Zealand off the screen for a moment. Yeah, herons. I've only seen them on their tods alone. But there they are in South Africa. Loads of herons all flying together on a migratory path. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what that was about, but it's very beautiful. And thank you for sharing it with us this morning, Francis. Let's say a few more hellos before Wiley joins us on screen, probably from her lovely loft. Where she joined us from last week. I don't know. We will find out. But don't be moving stuff around the desk this week, Wiley. You remember what happened last time? It could have fallen down the loft steps as well. Then we'd have been in trouble. Lee's in. Good morning, people. How you doing, Lee? Is Miguel a friend of yours? He's not said that much about himself so far, apart from he's not a lurker. He's subscribed. Moaz informed me of that exception with his phone. That's a micro detail this morning, folks. I think I'd like to be it's Portuguese for lurker, an espreitador. This way I could pay attention to Carl and his guests instead of being chatty. Yes, Moaz, blocking up the chat with all your crosstalk here and have no idea what I'm talking about anyway. Yeah, you're very welcome. I don't know for how much longer I can allow it though, Moaz, because I've got a big job on my hands here. Trying to work our way through the comments, and everyone's chatting to each other in there. We said hello to Annie, haven't we? Yeah, hope all is going well in the first flush, Annie. Galadriel Botterill is here. Bon dia, Carl. Galadriel, how are you this morning? And yes, I love your approach to shifting the focus. What? You are my role model. I have to admit that I am still not doing any Portuguese yet. Yeah, Deagle is incredible. He really is. Quite incredible with the learning of the Portuguese. 150 days straight of learning Portuguese. Good man. Boa quinta-feira from Anna. Yes, it's the start of the weekend, everybody. Quinta-feira here in Portugal. Thursday. We know that's the case when we've got the webinar on a Thursday night. Then the Premium Plus gathering. It's always a lot of fun. And tomorrow, of course, Jenny B will be here with us for some Feel Good Friday fun as we truly start the weekend. Sitting in bed with a cuppa. How lovely, Annie. I'm so glad. It sounds like you're being spoiled. Quite right, too. Exactly why I'm here and will not be joining you there. Obrigadíssimo e obrigadinho. What are you talking about? Love a sea swim. Place of swimmers is the Nadadouro. Is that right? Very good. Okay, place of the swimmers, the Nadadouro. Because they do have a great proximity there, don't they? But I didn't know that. I thought it was something to do with Douro, the gold, of course. Love a sea swim, says Galadriel. Well, you can join those characters when you get here, Galadriel. A little each day has really improved my Portuguese, says Deagle. My only problem is listening to locals. I hear something. By the time I process it, they are in the next sentence. That is so true. That's where your Portu panic can set in right there, Deagle. And the best way to enter... the best is to enter straight away into the water. Like so many things in life, right? Just get on with it. Don't dither. Who dares wins, etc., etc. Just do it. Isn't there a catchphrase or a strapline company? Just do it. I think California would be quite the swim. I know. Only kidding. I don't recommend anyone do that. I, however, don't recommend doing this in the north. Yeah, Miguel, you make a very good point. You know what? Don't swim anywhere. Except, well, do what you want. You're a grown-up, but if you are a grown-up, that is. But really, what's so great about San Martinho de Porto Bay is that it's safe to swim because it's protected from the Atlantic. There are some lethal beaches not far from San Martinho de Porto. How those surfers go in there and survive, I do not know. Quite incredible. And yeah, maybe get down around by the Algarve for some safer swimming. But the Atlantic can be treacherous, lethal. So be very careful. I think we've all fallen in love with Turquoise Lady. She is a character, isn't she? She's a character among characters there. I agree. It was a lovely meetup yesterday. Thanks to all that came. Yes, each one is slightly different, isn't it? Because of the chemistry and personality mix. But all have been fantastic so far. And despite my message that I sent out recently, which said, sorry for the atmosphere, that bit of atmosphere today. And everyone assumed the worst when they got that message. I'd done a pocket message. I sat on my phone and recorded a little bit of the hubbub at the meetup. and then apologized for it. Sorry about that bit of atmosphere. I thought it was perfectly inoffensive and obvious thing to say. And then people were sending me private messages. Hey, what atmosphere? What went on? What did I miss? What did I miss? Was it me? Was it me? Was it something I said? No, not that kind of atmosphere. Moaz, if you don't mind, can we have a topic that's not related to US politics? It'll be a relief, wouldn't it? The last topic made my blood boil. I was an activist fighting the other side for years and just want to leave this behind. Well, I can understand that. And it's quite a hard balance to strike, really. Observing and wanting to understand what's going on, and also not wanting to talk about it at all because it's so depressing sometimes. The next one, though, is it's set. Lee chose it for Monday night. This whole idea of prepping and preparations people are making in the spicy times we live in. But help me out, Moaz, if you've got a suggestion. And when people do have suggestions for the Monday night, more politically inspired, if those two words can go together in the same sentence, politics and inspiration, not often the case, is it? But if somebody wants to suggest a topic, the least they can do is come and speak about it themselves as well, or put forward a good guest. Okay, let's compartmentalize that. That was the whole point. Monday night, spicy stuff on a Monday night from 10 o'clock, where Americans can join in live as well. And it's very difficult, I think, for the US folks not to talk about politics at the moment, obviously. 10 p.m. Monday evenings. My question to you is this podcast. Let's go from there and that to this, to the wonderful Wiley over in Cascais. Good morning to you, Wiley. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you very much. Yes, it's a beautiful day. It's very hot already. How is Cascais this morning?
And, we were promised rain this morning, so we woke up to no rain. But yesterday I was gathering animals 2 by 2 because the deluge was incredible. And I figured building an ark would be the best way to get out. But we survived it. We needed it.
The price of timber at the moment, you got to be well financed to build an ark these days. with the price of, although if you have the divine inspiration and divine help, it should just turn up outside your door.
Yes, it should.
That's how it was in the movie. And I know you got skills, Wiley, or at least design oversight. Your ark would be beautiful, I think.
Yes, it would. It would be blue.
Yes, excellent stuff.
Let's start there. The weather is awesome. We were so grateful for the rain. Who doesn't need rain right now? It's just incredibly dry. And Cascais has done this great job because knowing we're going to have a fire this year, because we have a fire every year, they've actually gone in and done a lot of forest management. So the beauty of that is that the trees are like every third tree has been taken down. They've toted them away. I mean, obviously we all need the timber, but we also need forest management. So this time, if we have a fire, at least we're better suited for it because we won't have any water.
Can you say more about that? Although that does seem to dovetail very beautifully with ark building. Maybe somebody is building an ark, chopping every third tree down. I think you might have let the cat out of the bag there with Cascais' plans.
Exactly. If only we had enough water for an ark. I think that's one of the things that Cascais does beautifully. They do a number of things. One, their landscaping is gorgeous. I mean, every roundabout, for the cars through the highways. We just got a brand new grocery store in front of Bayview, which is our old Jumbo, which turned into an Auchan, which is now, it's so beautiful, this grocery store. I like excuses just to go shopping. It is stunning and it is worthy of us. It's just so beautiful. And then upstairs, they did a food court, and outside they did a terrace with all food trucks. Like, it's so next level. It's crazy. So that's one beautiful thing that they've done here. And they have in all of their forests, because I have a dog and I walk a lot in the forest, I'm noticing that they're cleaning up the forests, that the brush is being removed, that they're doing everything they can to be prepared for the fire, which is ultimate kind of thing.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. I'm very glad to hear about your new Auchan extravaganza there as well. So that you can put safely. It's not just shopping; it's an attraction as well. Is it a new attraction in Cascais?
It is. Place to go.
What, and the food trucks are there all the time?
Yeah, the food trucks are there all the time on the terrace. So you have this terrace overlooking the ocean and food trucks. after you've gone grocery shopping or before. It's like lunch and groceries all at the same time. It's a cool thing. They did a great job.
Comporta, watch out. I was talking about Comporta. Is it Comporta? That's the place of the rich and famous in Portugal, isn't it?
Yes.
We're learning about that yesterday with Michael Heron. And of course, Princess Eugenie and her husband have just moved there. And he's in the rear. Oh, yeah, you've got a new competitor with a bit of royal family cachet attached to it there in Comporta. But is the comparison made between the jet set lifestyles of Comporta and Cascais?
No, I haven't heard it. You know, Philippe Stark, the designer, he lives here and he lives there. So, I mean, I think that having a foot in each camp is because we're different. Comporta is really different from Cascais.
Hold on a minute. You're a mine of fascinating information. Well, you always are, but there's some real special touches this morning. Philippe Stark lives in Cascais.
He lives in Malvera Serra.
Wow. I think
you heard it here.
The only thing I could buy, the only thing I could afford from his collection was that orange juicer. Do you remember that?
His house is bubblegum pink in Malvera. That's great.
The amazing designer, Philippe Stark. Of all the places he can live, he's chosen Cascais and Comporta as well.
I know. And many other places, I'm so sure. Yeah, I'm so sure.
Like, he must think, yeah, I've got a new design idea. I better buy a new house somewhere in the world.
That's right.
Wow, okay. So, yeah, the Cascais Comporta, not a thing. Very different to suit different needs. But just taking you back to fire there, and you spoke with some certainty about how there may be forest fire. It's a part of living in life in Portugal, not just in Cascais. Could you tell us more?
So my first year here in 2018, we had forest fire. Yes, the answer is yes. So we had this massive forest fire, and all of the so Sintra has a bad rap because everyone talks about that it's humid and wet. Yeah. So if you're in Sintra and you look at the mountain that kind of divides us, it is lush and green and full of all kinds of wonderful fauna and flora. And you come over the mountain and you start to see the coastline, like Cabo de Roca, and then all of a sudden you come over the mountain and you see the coastline. And then it becomes a little bit more scattered with houses and kind of almost like a brush. And it's because the water is angled differently in Sintra, and it hits the mountain and it kind of does this, which is why there's always that humidity. Coming over the mountain, it doesn't happen much that way because we've just passed the most westerly point at Cabo de Roca. And so we have more of a barren kind of a wasteland thing, which I love because it gives us a forest.
Yes.
But it's not really protected with all that moisture. So when the forest fire happens, it happens there almost consistently because it's so dry all the time. And you can't build anything there because the wind just rips it apart. It's where north kind of comes in and beats us up a little bit. So there are very few villages, very few houses, and tons of land and tons of dry land. So for those reasons, we do often get forest fires there. As a matter of fact, 2 out of the 4 years that I've lived here, they've actually stopped us from driving through those back roads, through the forest, for fear that somebody might throw a cigarette out the window or have a little barbecue.
Serious?
Yeah. So, and they only let the bicyclists through. So, and people who live there, they have to show their address and say that they're going straight home, but they're really very protective of it because they're very scared. So this year, our reservoirs are at an all-time low. But I remember one year I was laying out on my terrace and I looked up because I heard this noise. And of course, being from the United States, I have this 9/11 in my head, the noise in the airplanes. And there's an airplane driving so low over my building. And I can see the serial numbers. That's how low this building is.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And I'm freaking out. And it's this yellow plane. And he drives past me and he scoops down in the water and opens up his belly. And then he turns around and then he sprays the water from the ocean. And they do it every 20 minutes. 2 airplanes keep doing this. And that's how they put out the fire because it's impossible to get to otherwise. So they have the means by which they understand it's they need airplanes like this, but Cascais they're really well set up like that. They're very clear about.
Well, I think
we've never lost a house.
Well, that's great to know. And they're taking it seriously and dealing with it in a very responsible way there. And of course, it was very sobering in 2017 with the loss of life in Portugal. That's when I first came, and I had a similar experience to you. Yeah, not far from central Portugal, seeing smoke in the distance. Now, I overreacted because it is part of life in Portugal. There will be fires. at times, and the bomberos are highly trained and responsive to these things. But beware of that, folks. A couple of things, I suppose. One is that the bomberos tend to test their sirens every day, which you may not have been told about, which might cause you to grab your loved ones, tell you how much you love them, and hide under the table until it stops.
Here it's only at 12 o'clock every day. It's just one siren one time.
But the first time, Wiley, if no one's told you that's going to happen, which is what happened to us.
So scary.
What? Ours went off at 3 in the morning because of an incident of some sort, just to call the bomberos to the station. And it sounded like it was on until enough people got there to deal with what needed dealing with. There's a thing. The alarms will be tested in Portugal, so don't. And at the same time, which is obviously a good idea every day, if it's midday or 11, I think those are the general times in Portugal when it's tested. Don't be alarmed by the alarm. They're just testing to make sure they can call people in the event of a real emergency. And forest fires are a real thing in Portugal. Be prepared for that. You may see smoke in the distance. And as Wiley said, you may see aircraft that are specially adapted to firefighting as well, right?
And the year after we moved here, they actually installed lots of tsunami warnings. I don't know why. It was just a push that particular time, but all the tsunami signs went up. So all on the Peradal by the beach, there's always these wave signs that say, in case, go this way, which is great. But they also had booms that prevented you from going out on any of the docks that are scattered along the Cascais beach.
Really?
And then every, I don't know what it was, but to your point, we would get these, everyone please. And they were doing tsunami drills.
Can we have that again? Okay, Wiley, will you do that again for us, please? I need to. What was it? Wah, wah, wah. Whatever, please.
So that's what happened. But that was short-lived. I think enough people complained and said, look, you're freaking us out. Stop it. So they took the booms away and they took the away. And but at least when you walk the Peradal, you have in the back of your head that you know, should waves happen.
Wow, my goodness. Okay, so be prepared for these things. It's better to be prepared and for nothing to happen, for it to pass safely, than to be unprepared, of course. In 2017, I was in the thick of it, evacuated twice in that year. My goodness, I knew about fires, but not the magnitude of the 2017. Great to see you yesterday, Owen, and thank you for that. Wiley has an enormous energy. It's absolutely awesome. Miguel's quite new to the crew here. And delighted to meet you and keen to hear about your guide to loving life in Portugal, which we'll move on to in just a moment. But let's see who else is here this morning and see who we can say hello to. Thanks for being here this morning, Wiley. How are things generally with the property market, renting and buying in Cascais? Is it still cooking?
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Crazy. I mean, it's like we're not really catching a break because we have COVID. Right. And even the first year of COVID, the property prices increased 12%. I mean, let's just go there. It hasn't stopped. The trajectory is like, and then after COVID happened, we figured, maybe it'll settle down kind of thing as COVID kind of does what it kind of peters out.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but kind of peters out. And so then we had the golden visa. And the golden visa put a push on anything that was like 350, 400 became 500 because it could. And people bought them for the application of a golden visa, which was great. And I said to a lot of clients in that price range, wait till January, February. It's over December 31st. So that we're waiting January, February, Ukraine happens, March, and then all of a sudden we have this influx of all these lovely human beings who desperately need a safe place to live. And you're so grateful, that they found it here. But it comes with an influx of people who aren't sure about their future, going back, staying. So the rental market was because we had all these people looking for houses. Anything from this amount to, I've looked at houses for 10,000 euros a month where there's a line of people behind me. 10,000 euros a month, who does that? And it's just crazy.
It's a good question.
It's mostly a lot of companies are saying to their employees, we'll move our headquarters there, we'll move our employees there. You pay for whatever you can afford, let's call it $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and then they match it. Yeah. So people who could live at 4 or 5 are living in 10 because they can. So it's there's
we will look back on these times, won't we? Do you remember those 10K a month days?
It's true. Before those were few and far between, and now it's just crazy.
It's a nice commission there, though. Some lovely commission there. If You get a month's commission out the deal. That can't be bad. Well, okay. Kawaii Pandas. Bon dia from Kawaii Pandas. Pam's in as well, as is Francis. You bring people in, Wiley, with your awesome energy. Carl, how about a topic about British politics? Oh, my goodness. You guys are so nice to each other. Well, on the face of it, yes. But there's a lot of passive aggression and suppressed rage with the British. But they put it to one side for Her Majesty's Trooping of the Colour today. Oh, just received the old certificate of compliance. Easy peasy. That's good to know for those in a similar condition looking to matriculate their vehicle. Have you ever helped anyone with that, Wiley, bringing their car over? Would you prefer them not to? It's a bit of a headache.
No, I mean, I just refer them to the ACP and tell them that's their go-to.
Good call. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Celebrate Children's Day. Was there anything about Children's Day in Cascais yesterday? Children's Day in Portugal? Not too much. Okay. Celebrating and honouring children in the country and in the news. Such a counterpoint to the US, but not going any further with this. Sigh, indeed. Absolutely right. And hilarious. British politics, nice. It's all relative, I suppose, isn't it? British politics, embarrassing, more like. Bon dia from Stephen this morning. Hey, Stephen, how are you doing? Our politicians are also embarrassing. Okay, we're looking for the comment that says, I love our politicians from our country. We might be waiting a long time for that. The erotic novel entry. No, I probably shouldn't read this out. Okay, no, I'm not going to read that out. Johnson. Steve. That's one to write down for the book, okay? Not for broadcast, that. James from Kawaii Pandas, not in the forest. You must not like people on phones. We can click the options when we at people have to type it out. Oh, I'm still figuring out how to address each other. The more you can't address each other, the better it is for me in many ways. Hola, bon dia, Gumpers from Pippa in Botswana. Fantastic. Oh, Star People. That's the George Michael track. That is the jazz funk, or the track of the day. Chris is our selector here, and he's got Star People by George Michael this morning for us. And Michelle is here from Australia. Happy day to you, Carl, and everyone. Look, Carl doesn't allow politics here. You can't avoid it, really, but I just don't want to go too much into the heat of it here and have people falling out, as they're clearly capable of. You just only got to look at my timeline on Facebook. He just started another YouTube channel for political topics. Last topic was about guns, and it was too personal for me. Well, I understand that. Scott's here as well. Bon dia, todos. Any other Dirk Gently fans? Now, why has that come up from Scott in Porto? I don't understand that reference, and I'm not sure I know who Dirk Gently is. Do you know, Wiley? We need some explanation, please, Scott. My wife has 6 names. It sounds like the beginning of a joke, that, doesn't it? My wife has 6 names. My mother-in-law. No. So it is a lovely Portuguese thing that people have so many names. Thanks, Carl. I don't know Lee. I just congratulated him yesterday. Oh, I see. So Miguel. It is delightful. It doesn't matter what the backstory is, Miguel. It's great to have you here. Katrina Lilly also here this morning. Bon dia, Carl, and others. That's the sort of othering we like. Bon dia a todos de Belgica this morning. What a wonderful spread. We've got pictures from South Africa, from New Zealand this morning, and Johnny in from Belgium. How's that shoulder, Johnny? Cindy being as well from the US previously. Third daughter, that's little JC there, has a groom appointment this morning, so I'll catch up later. I've got clippers now. Sue's left them with me. I can give JC a nice little haircut for you if you want. And what's this? I don't know. You're probably better able to pronounce that than me, Wiley. What do you think? Do you want to give that a go?
That's not Swedish.
I know, but it's close. You're closer to Icelandic than me, I would have thought.
That must be Ukrainian, Russian.
No, Icelandic. It's a bit of Icelandic there.
Is it Icelandic?
I think I did quite well.
Yeah, something Icelandic. Yeah.
Okay. Something Icelandic. Thank you for your help there, Wiley.
No, sorry.
No, sorry, let's move on. Falcão Brasa, Olaf. What is it with New Zealand? A lot more interest coming in from New Zealand. It's as far away as you can get. I think the interest. Well, actually, we discovered what the midpoint of Portugal was. What's the furthest place away geographically from Portugal, I wonder? Anyone got an answer to that? I'm sure you do. Add a Portuguese keyboard to your phone or computer to get that autocorrect. Works well for Apple products. Of course it does. All you members of the Apple cult singing the praises of your products there. Never miss an opportunity to do that. Okay, and Miguel, I saw your name and I kind of suspected you were from Iceland. I love Iceland. and it's people, your language is so awesome. There you go. Oh, thank you. Same to add Portuguese keyboard on Android. Click the globe next to the space bar and add the keyboard. Do that, please, folks. That's a really good tip this morning. Nice one. I had to take the sound out because my kid was like, Dad, 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 while I was recording. This is a massive formation of herons that Francis sent me this morning, Wiley. I've only ever seen them in the singular, but there was a massive migratory flock of herons in the video I showed earlier. They fly inland in the morning and back towards the coast in the evening. It's incredible. I bet it is. More of those, please, Francis. We'd love to see those. Anita in Lisbon, press the like. Everyone, it's free. Yes, no government tax on pressing the like button yet, so feel free, go ahead and do it. The erotic novel entry, the best way he found was to plunge straight in. Now, this was some wild... No, you're shaking your head, Wiley, but we can explain. It's not just straight up smuttiness. The ladies of the San Martino de Porto mindful swimmers here, the mindful nadadores, were swimming, and we had a video. Do you swim in the sea at Cascais?
With a wetsuit?
Oh, I think you mentioned this before.
365 days a year.
Okay, all right. So not one for the cold water. Okay, got it. All right. Birth rate would be a spicy topic. Birth rate. Okay, what, Portuguese? Because the it's going down, isn't it? The net population is going down here in Portugal. So some are thanking the immigrants for coming in and also having children themselves when they're here. What's this? I just learned a new Portuguese word. Wow, wow. Is that right? Wow, 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 wow. Wow in Portuguese there. Okay, we do. I think we need a phonetic of that if you can do it. Usually more like politically triggered, going back to the politics. It's so difficult not to talk about politics, isn't it? All right, I know a good way of not talking about politics. Wiley's Guide to Loving Life in Portugal. So what's the first thing to do to really get the best out of life in Portugal when you arrive here, Wiley? What's your secret?
Find your people.
Find your people. Okay, say more.
I think that the most important thing for me when I first got here, thank you, was I put myself on all these different Facebook expat groups, whether it's Swedes in Portugal, in Cascais, or Americans in Cascais, or expats in Cascais, and then go to all the different events that they have, or create your own events. Yeah. And then you find your people in each one of those events. You're like, oh, that person and that person and that person. I signed up for tarot card reading and bridge and like Bible reading. I mean, like anything you could get your hands on, just go and get your people and then start asking friends to lunch and dinners and create your community, because until you have your community, you're never really going to land here. Yes. And that's my opinion anyway. And then once you find your community, then it's exponential. It just gets bigger and bigger because they invite you to their friends and their friends. And then all of a sudden people look at you and say, how did you meet all these people? And literally it's a deep dive, even when you were in your language classes and anywhere else, but you just keep finding your people. And then all of a sudden you walk down the street and people say hi to you and you feel like you're home.
Oh, how lovely is that? Yes.
And your shopkeepers and you take care. Like I walk into the florist shop and they literally, like I took a number and waited in line and the woman looked at me and she's like, a regular? I'm like, yeah. And she literally grabbed the flowers I buy every week and walked up to me as I greased her palm with the 10 and kept walking. And people are looking at me like, who's that girl? I'm like, you go in, you get their names, you recognize who they are, you become friends with them. And then all of a sudden you're the expat who's kind of a little bit outspoken, but a consistent human being and always willing to, show up and be a good patron and be a good friend to them. And I know their kids' names, and it comes back to you full circle. And then you feel like a local.
Yeah, very good. Yes, there's a special angle on this because I was saying to somebody yesterday, shock horror. They were asking about all the places I've lived in Portugal. And I said, San Martino de Porto is the most unfriendly place I've ever lived. And they were really shocked to hear me say that because I'm such a Pollyanna sort of person anyway about Portugal. And I had to explain, if you have a spectrum of friendliness in Portugal, if you have a spectrum of unfriendliness in the world of places you've been to and friendliness in places, all of Portugal is at the top end. So it was a completely relative statement about San Martino de Porto. And further explanation of that is because when you live in central Portugal, you're clearly not a tourist. You might be a lost tourist, right, in the outback of Portugal. But if people see you 2 days running, they're going to guess that you probably live there and you're going to be there for a while. If you're in San Martin de Porto or in Cascais for that matter, you might be an Airbnb tourist, and there's no need for any investment in any sort of friendship or long-term connection, is there? And that's completely understandable. And calling that unfriendliness is an over-exaggeration for sure.
Right.
So you make a very good point there about if you are living permanently in a touristy place, I think you've got to try that little bit harder and integrate and connect with the local establishments, the businesses, right?
100%. I agree.
Because they don't know, do they? They don't know if you're just there for the weekend and are going to leave any minute now, or if you're making a life there.
Absolutely. And I think that on every level, not only just with other people, but with the locals who work here. You know, when you visit their establishments and you become kind of a patron who shows up all the time. What's that called?
A regular.
Regular. Thank you.
Yeah.
So when you become a regular, that you also take care of the staff, knowing that we have come in on some level. It's because of our ability to pay more for product or property or whatever tangible it is or intangible, that we've increased the prices on many things, even in having someone come and clean your home. Most people who live here pay €5. I've never paid €5 because I wouldn't pay €5. I think it's inappropriate. So so that you take care of them, knowing that because of our presence here, the prices have increased even for them. The lifestyle has changed. They can't live in the same houses, or they make money by selling them and they kind of have to move a little bit further back and start again. Been good for them. They made a lot of money, but they need to know that we're not just here kind of taking, that we're also here giving.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And that's a slow process, I think, isn't it? And a slowly negotiated one, such that they know you are somebody who is nice to deal with and is sticking around for a little while and plans to make your life there. Fantastic. Thank you. That's a great start to Wiley's Guide to Loving Life in Portugal. Let's go to a few more comments before we go to another tip from Wiley. I have a suggestion. Miguel is such good value to us. And you know what? It is such a pleasure to me to know that we have Portuguese viewers of this enterprise here. So thank you, Miguel, for being here. Thank you to Antonio. Thank you to João, who are our Portuguese regulars. Really appreciate you. And of course, even some of the expats who've become citizens, they count as Portuguese people as well. Or I'm going to do it. If you want, I can write in Portuguese for some of the time. Yes, so that you get to read more. Yes, please go ahead. That'll be wonderful. And Moaz responding in Portuguese. That'd be great. Okay, Andrew, what location are you, Miguel? We're trying to find out more about you. My suggestion is that all the English or non-Portuguese speakers use only the Portuguese they know versus translating it all and copying it and paste it here. Good point, James. Demos or Marau or Alval. I don't know what he means there, but we will find out. Excuse me, I do have a cough button, so there was absolutely no need for that on my new desk. Let's go to you, Wiley, while I have a sip of water. For your another pointer for us on how to love life here in Portugal. Thank you for doing this, by the way, today. Oh,
absolutely. Another way to love life. Yeah, I think that another way to love life is we talk about community and we talk about taking care of our community. We also, what you just did was incorporating the Portuguese in our community as opposed to just kind of keeping ourselves in an expat community. Yes. So when people come in and I say to them, are you opposed to living in a Portuguese neighborhood? And 99.9% of them say, I'd prefer it. Because why move to a country where I'm going to move to the same street of every other expat, as opposed to being able to integrate in the Portuguese neighborhoods? And I did the same. I moved to a Portuguese neighborhood, and none of my neighbors spoke to me for the first 6 months because they all thought I was going to come in, renovate, and sell, or come and renovate, do Airbnb, which they didn't really want. But as to your point, you said earlier, it takes time to integrate. To be able to integrate with them. And now I'm their friend. Now they trust me. And now, they say hello to me. And now I'm trying to integrate them into my space as well, to let them know. So I've suggested that we have a gardening day together and then try to learn the language, with them doing that. So I guess it's a way.
Well, come on. I know that's just a ruse to get rid of the gnomes, isn't it? Your long-term plan. You've been rumbled. Okay, let's move on. All right. Okay, all right, Miguel. We have the Marval and Alval mountain ranges. He's in Bragança. is Miguel. Well, that's lovely to know that you're in Bragança and can tell us more about that. Estou em Bragança. We're loving this bilinguality, if that's the right way of saying it. And I gosto do Cascais there. The Cascais, that's not Bragança though, isn't it? Isn't that nearer to Lisbon? I'm not. Maybe there are one or two of those in Portugal. And there's always one. Look at this, Wiley. What happens if the actual fire starts? Very
There'll be
good.
two signals.
Imagine it will continue, Stephen.
No, I have to tell you that I hiked to the top of a mountain here in Cascais, and there's a fire tower up there. And here's this beautiful thing that happens. The fire tower was built with wood. And I was like, that's a fire tower? So this year, just so you know, they ripped it down and built it back up with steel beams.
Excellent. Okay, that sounds better.
So much better.
Very good. Okay, and Andy, you have been so busy in our What's On guide. We have this, folks, now in case you didn't know, and I'll put the link in again this morning because Andy, it would appear that everything that happens in Portugal happens in the Bairrada region. Thank you so much. I was trying to represent San Martin de Porto this morning, but amazing. The posters continue. And there's so many things to do throughout the rest of this month here, certainly in the Bairrada region. Anyone else with any events? No offense to you, Andy, but it looks like the only partying that's going on is we've got our 9 days of music here in San Martino, but mostly everything else is happening in the Bairrada region. Check it out on the link I've just put in the chat. Says Andy, had the same experience when we visited your manor in San Martino de Porto. Our apartment was right behind the fire station. Oh, let's have a little bit of lunch, shall we? Oh, this is very nice, isn't it? What the? Yes, so Andy, I should have told you. I should have warned you. When I was first house hunting in 2005, there were a lot of fires. It made us aware that we didn't want to live close to a forest. It is a game changer, isn't it? When you discover that you live close to a forest, and if you notice as well that the ground hasn't been cleared, or they're not as responsible as they would appear to be in Cascais, as Wiley was saying earlier on. Yeah, sobering stuff. Oh, and the Portuguese for wow is wow, wow, wow. I don't know if I've got the emphasis on that right, but we're getting a stage closer to nailing that. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. I live in Lisboa. It feels like home. Well done, Andy. And I think you're getting ever closer to starting your new life full time in Lisboa. Amo Lisboa. Me sinto em casa. That's lovely. Well done, everybody, for talking the Portuguese. And slight correction, possibly. I amo Lisboa. Sinto-me em casa there. Fantastic. Anyway, it's correct or almost there. Yes, very encouraging. Thank you very much. And muito bem for you. Hola, bom dia todos from Simon this morning. Great to see you. And Sam wants to know from you, Wiley, when did the tsunami signs go up? And why would be the other question, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly, but I'm going to say 219. Okay. Yeah, 219, probably early 220 is when I remember them. And then the sign stayed up, but all the booms that stopped you from going out, which is kind of unfortunate because it was about that time. Segue, I have a friend, if you've been in the Cascais, you've been in the Paradão.
Yeah.
And it starts at like the Albatross Hotel and ends up over in São João with a set of stairs. And then it kind of goes up to the road. So a friend of mine takes the train every day home from work and gets off at São João. And for her evening constitutional, trying to walk off, being in the office all day long, she takes the stairs down. And a week or two ago, there was kind of that tape, not the yellow do not cross police line tape, but the kind of red and white tape that you see some places.
I don't know what you mean.
She kind of ignored it and went down anyway and promptly got swept up by a wave.
No.
And it knocked her. She rolled into over the beach, over the rocks. And there were luckily two people that saw this happen and ran in and intercepted her, literally made a human wall where she knocked up against them. And they pulled her out bloody and broken and people were so great. They were so great. They literally went into her bag. They took out her phone. If it could still work, but they tried to find her name on her phone. They called an ambulance. They set her up. They got her, and the ambulance couldn't get down there. And she's like, I don't need one. So she walks back up the stairs.
Yeah.
and she didn't have her wallet because it was gone in the ocean. So she gets it, and she couldn't use her phone. So she gets to the top of the stairs, and a lovely Portuguese woman recognized that she was in trouble. And she managed to explain to her that she needed to get home. So the woman called her an Uber and paid for it on her phone. Wow. And then she gets into the Uber, and it gets into a car crash on the way home.
Oh, no.
So she's bleeding in the back seat, and she's too stubborn to go to the hospital. Now she's in a car crash in the Uber. Okay, it's not a funny story. But all I'm telling you is that it would be great if those booms had been there, because she wouldn't have gone down the street. Long story short.
Yeah, but I mean, she's got to be thinking, like, what's the third thing that's going to happen today?
That's what she was thinking. But what I'm saying is that the waves are a formidable power. I mean, it's just, we have to kind of be aware of the fact that there are times I wake up and walk on the Paradão, and there are like areas of the stone of the walkway that have been like disintegrated and taken back to the earth. I mean, the waves are powerful here, so we need to be aware of the fact that just because we don't have tsunamis as we speak, we still have some massive. Like yesterday, the waves were.
Yeah, you might have heard me say this earlier on. You know, that's why San Martino de Porto is so special, because it's safe. You know, you still have to be careful whenever you go into the water. Whenever you go into the sea, you must be careful. But it's secluded or sheltered from the worst of the Atlantic there, as you can see in this long shot as well. It's a lovely little bay, and you do have to be so careful with the Atlantic. Did you say this was a friend of yours as well? How is she doing now?
She's fine. Thank you for asking. But she's literally banged up. I mean, she just was in a bad way. And it was incredibly scary, because next thing you know, it's literally next thing you know, you're underwater.
And she's fully clothed, and she's just going for
walking home from work.
Yes. And a couple of things there in your story. Is there really an Albatross Hotel?
Yes, there is.
You could have taken that as a sign. I mean, who calls their hotel the Albatross Hotel? Is it not a thing in Portuguese culture?
It's on the other side of where she came in. But yeah, the Albatross Hotel, it's actually a very beautiful hotel.
Okay, all right. So it maybe doesn't have the same sort of associations here. Maybe it's a lucky bird.
No, it's a 5-star hotel in Cascais. It's one of the boutique hotels. It's on a jetty. It has a bay behind it, as you were describing earlier.
I know the one you mean. It is lovely. I do know where you mean. That's the Albatross, is it? And if the PR team of the Albatross Hotel are watching, I do apologize, and I'd be very happy to come and put that right if you want to allow me to stay there for a couple of nights, just so that I can set the record straight.
The Albatross has a really good deal, and I'm going to misquote the price point. I'd call it somewhere between 25 and 35 euros per person for brunch on Saturday and Sunday. All you can drink.
Get in. What? That sounds great. Okay, remember where you heard it first. Don't mention our names, though, because we'll just sound like a bunch of cheapskates from the Good Morning Portugal show. But that sounds wonderful.
It's great. And the food's really good, too.
What a location, though. What a lovely location.
It's just beautiful.
Secluded part beyond where most people hang out in Cascais.
Right. Yeah. No, my suggestion is grab 10 of your best friends and go to the buffet, because it is beautiful. The food is excellent. You can sit for a long time. But brunches here are a little bit different from brunches back home, wherever home is for everybody. But for us, a brunch is that brunch lunch thing. But it is around 10, 11, 11, 12. Here, like brunch is like 2 o'clock. Yeah.
Where you feel completely justified to have a good drink.
Right, basically. But it's like I go at 11 because I don't want to drink, so I'm like, I don't have to.
That's so brilliantly Portuguese. And yes, before we go back to the loving life in Portugal and getting your best 10 friends together for brunch, which would be another thing in line with what you've been saying. You used the phrase constitutional, going for a constitutional. I said this to somebody the other day. I saw my mate Boaz when I was driving through the bay, and I said, "Oh, hi, how you doing? Are you out for your constitutional?" And I realized it was quite a particular thing to say. I assumed it was a British thing, but it's possibly American as well, the constitutional?
No.
What?
I think I picked it up. I think I heard it for the first time on 101 Dalmatians or Lady in the Tramp or something like that. And they were just out, taking their morning constitutional. And I just thought it was such a cool word. So
what a lovely, the original. Is he called Roger Darling? Or Darling?
Yes.
Darling? Is he just called Darling? Darling, should we go out for constitutional? Yes, I must just smoke a cigarette and write another song, but then I'll be right with you, Toodle Pip. Yes, fantastic. So constitutionals, everybody, have one of those. There's another growing old, disgracefully fitness tip for you. Constitutional every day, but don't go too close to the water. Back to loving life in Portugal then. Take your 10 best buds to the brunch. Best bud brunch. That's a really good little thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but brunch isn't like, I mean, as an American, brunch is absolutely almost every restaurant has one. Here, they're few and far between. They're a little bit different, not the same type of brunches. Some of them, COVID changed everything. They shut them all down because you weren't allowed to pick up the same fork to take the salad that everybody else picked up. So then it became, we'll serve you. And then it was less of a feast when someone else is giving you one carrot. But it's just, brunch is a different world here. It's not the same. It doesn't have the same meaning. But the ones, yes, I am vegan.
Okay, we didn't mention it though, did we? Did you say that today?
I didn't say it. I've said.
No, I think that comes from a resonance from the past. That's a repeating radish from back.
But there are vegan brunches, people.
There you go, vegan brunches in Cascais. So, anything else then for loving life in Portugal? I mean, going back to your first suggestion about find your crew, find your tribe, yeah. See, for people who are a little bit shyer and introverted, they're thinking that like Carl, it's all right for Carl and Wiley with their meetup groups and their big personalities and everything like that. What about us shy people, which actually both of us are, Wiley, of course, we know this, don't we?
We're introverts.
It's all show, isn't it? So if you are introverted and shy, you could start the meetup group for shy and introverted people, couldn't you? There's a little workaround for you, and you could meet in a quiet place, and you could barely talk to each other if you didn't want to. You have a whole new set of ground rules, couldn't you? For like, please don't approach me, just wave from the other side of the room.
We'll meet in a library.
We'll meet in a library. We'll have to say anything or go to cinema or something.
It'd be great.
Just gotta. Brilliant.
Yeah, it is interesting, but I think that once again, there's something for everyone. For example, tomorrow I'm going to a hat garden party with the Royal British Society, and I have nothing to do with that society. But once again, it's just you meet someone who knows someone who knows someone who calls you and asks you to go, and then you find yourself involved with Americans or the Brits or or the Swedes. We had a Swedish group that all play paddle together. And one day we knew we weren't going to have an extra person, so we called the coach, and he said, "Let me throw in one of my players." And all of a sudden, she plays with us every week, and now she's learning Swedish, and we know her family, and then she brought in her friend and her friend, so now it's half Portuguese, half Swedish, and it's so fun. And then another club, it's like 90% British and 10% Swedish, and when we have birthdays, all of a sudden I get birthday congratulations from people I've played paddle with, and they're not necessarily people I hang out with all the time, but it's a community. So it increases, wherever I go, there's a space for me to be. And so I think going back to that original thing is, don't let the fact that you are an introvert stop you from at least finding some way, because at a garden party, you can just put your hat on and just show up. You don't necessarily have to engage. You're going to be people are going to engage you.
Yes.
But I think that just because we're a little bit nervous doesn't mean we won't be able to find our people, because you'll find them. There are so many opportunities here. There's so many things that Cascais does, like whether it's Harley Davidson week or Ironman week or vintage car week. There's always something that's going to tickle your fancy that I think it's going to bring you on board.
There is some diversity over there in Cascais. Those few types of events you mentioned there, and just finally, on the introverted people, you know what it's like. I mean, I guess a lot of it is anticipation and nervousness, but I think most introverts know, don't they? When they're at a party, they'll see another introvert in the kitchen or the garden, and go up to them and maybe say, "Do you hate parties as well?" And
I'm the one in the kitchen too. I'm like hiding in the kitchen.
So good to meet you. Yes, and then you're away. It's absolutely fine.
Absolutely.
Hold on a minute. Paddle, Harley Davidson, Ironman. This is just a normal week for you, is it?
Stop it.
What is paddle?
Why does you make fun of me for all my activities? Okay, Harley Davidson is not one of my activities, but man, it's fascinating to watch the Harley Davidson week. It is fascinating.
Paddle, though. I mean, I'm hearing more about paddle. I imagine it to be an American sport, which
no, it's not.
Is it not? What is?
It started in Europe.
When I was at school, paddle was what you got hit with for stepping out of line. So it has a negative connotation for me and others here, I suspect. Can you put that right in our minds? Should we play paddle? You
should play paddle, but you shouldn't hit each other with one.
No, okay.
When I grew up, we played paddle, which was an outdoor game. So when the tennis courts were closed at the country club, there were these wooden courts that were up off the ground. So even if there was snow and there were slats in between the wood, and then all around you was a cage, so you could still play in the winter, which was the point. And so now it is indoor, outdoor, preferably indoor, or at least it has a massive roof on it just because of the wind and the rain. The courts are twice as expensive in Sweden as they are here. It's well priced. It's fun. It's you have to be 4 people. So once again, it's a wonderful way to meet people in community. And your coach will then, you should take lessons because it's a little bit different from tennis. And so you need to stop playing tennis and start playing paddle. But a lot of the rules are the same. And then you just grow in your community. And now I play twice a week in like little tiny baby competitions with people who've never had a paddle racket in their hand, to people who play, 3 times a week. And you just kind of waterize it to its own level. You kind of end up with the people who play like you, but it's so fun and it's so social.
I get it. I get your love of it. And so in a way that there's cricket and rounders is a little bit more inclusive and fun, is this like a slightly more inclusive and fun version of tennis possibly?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Right. And these little kind of mini competitions that we do, it's literally you throw your names in a hat and you pick up, these names and that's your partner. And then the people who lost stay on that court, but they separate. And so now they play against each other with the losers on that, the people who didn't win on that part.
Losers. You said it. It's fine.
I retracted. So the people who didn't win on that court, they come in and they split. Yeah. So now and all of a sudden, so there's all these new, and then the people who didn't not win.
Okay, I'll say it. The ones who lost. Okay, I'll be the unpopular, horrible guy who even dared to mention the word. Those crushed in defeat. Yes.
Anyway, so what you do is you switch courts and you split, and you switch courts and you split. So you literally, there's 4 courts and there's 4 people. So there's 16 people, and every 15 minutes you play with all the people.
That is fantastic.
It couldn't be more popular. It couldn't be more easy to find friends. It's super cool.
That is great. That is great. And I think, depending on where you go, and it's probably not true of Portugal, but sometimes clubs can be a bit stuffy, can't they? And yes, and this isn't built.
It's all outdoors. It's not like you have this pompous kind of reception and you're going into a club. It's like it's literally outdoors. It's like a wooden house that you go in and you give your 11 euros to, and then there's 8 courts, and it's all outdoors and indoors. And you bring your dogs, and your kids are watching, and everyone's in the sideline. It's super, super social.
Excellent stuff. I think Moaz was. I forgot. We normally talk about houses, don't we? And the buying and selling thereof, as well as renting. And Moaz was asking if you're on our business directory. Of course you are. And I think as well, we're going to have a webinar with you. Our people are speaking to your people about this. And we're going to have a buying in Cascais special, aren't we, sometime soon?
Yes.
Brilliant. Excellent stuff. Okay. So we've done the housing bit. Let's go back to the meeting people. Don't get your tarot cards. And
I wasn't mixing them.
But wouldn't that be brilliant at the Bridge Club? To just lay down the death card, just to psych out your opponents. And so they're expecting two spades or 4 clubs or something like that.
I do have a question for the Brits online here today, if we have any. As I'm going to a garden party, and if it's rained out and we have to go inside, are you allowed to go inside with your hat on and eat with your hat on? Is that okay? Should you take your hat off?
I think this is appropriate for the lady, but not for the gentleman.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've dusted off my Debrett's Peerage or whatever book it is I'm supposed to look at to find out about such things. But I would say that would be a pretty good rule. I think the ladies are allowed to keep their hats on because it can. I mean, can you imagine if it's held on with 27 pins and all the fruit?
Right. It's hard to find a hat. Hard to find a garden party.
I find this. It's so difficult for a British gentleman such as myself to find a topper anywhere in this godforsaken country, but we'll keep going and good luck with that. Everybody's British tomorrow, of course. Queen's Jubilee, celebrating 300 years as the Queen of England tomorrow. So have a great time with that tomorrow, Wiley. And yes, give my best to all the Brits there. If you get the chance, if you need that as an icebreaker, please feel free. Okay. Who?
Yes.
Yes. I highly recommend creating relationships and community as soon as possible, even before arriving.
Agreed.
Oh, before arriving. There you go.
Which is what this community is all about.
It is, isn't it? Just one huge positive for social networking. Well said, James. There, I won't read your whole name. As you can see, Wiley, people like you are well and easily absorbed into our population. Fantastic, and in Portuguese as well. Como pode? Wiley, pastores, como tu, são bem facilmente absorvidas para a nossa população. Very good. Thank you, Miguel. It's so good that you're here. Please come back.
Miguel. Oh, sorry. Miguel, what you don't know is that I do not mix well with your population because I'm very obvious, because I am almost 6 feet tall, and with heels I'm 6'3", and I am 2 heads above most of the Portuguese women. So everybody knows I'm not Portuguese. So I go to the till or any event and there's nobody ever speaks Portuguese to me. I like get into an Uber and they speak English to me. I order things and they speak English to me.
Yes,
I'm doing my best. And I ever say to them, how come you didn't know I was in Portuguese? How come you're starting with English? And they're like,
yeah, okay. Try to speak Portuguese. She's trying, Wiley. She's trying to get on there. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. And visit Portuguese Festas. Of course, another great tip there. Attend Portuguese church. Another great idea. And I think this is true. You know, for those, I used the phrase a couple of days ago, militant atheist. I mean, some people really get their panties in a bunch at the mere mention of religion or God or Jesus or anything like that. Like, take a chill pill, okay? It's a cultural thing. You're not going to be held down in holy water or anything like that. I suspect in most Portuguese churches, or converted or anything like that, or judged. Yes, it's a community thing in Portugal, and showing your face there. And who knows? You might have a transformational. You know what? You probably are going to have a Christian experience, and by that I mean old school Christian experience of people being nice, familial, community-based and welcoming. You can't get more, at its best, you can't get more Christian than that. So why not attend a Portuguese church as well? Show your face. And what's wrong with gnomes? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with gnomes, is there? Okay. All right. Let's say hello to Mama and Harry and move on to Christine Elaine Men is here as well from Casablanca this morning. That's incredible, isn't it? Quite incredible. The lovely Lee was talking about this on the gardening Q&A on Monday. Let's get a map and put a pin in for all our listeners all over the world. Absolutely lovely. And to the Atlantic, says Andy, is wild and fierce. Nazareth is the example, of course. Yes, and we did, of course. We know she just knew you were vegan, I think. Albatross is an amazing bird. Its negative connotation is a result of human superstition, of course, us silly humans. And the morning constitutional, is it a British thing? Andy is also asking this morning. Yes, that's reminding me to watch 101 Dalmatians again. The original. Promenade is another old British word for taking a stroll. I believe it was usually with a suitor. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? With not, what are they called? Not a concierge walking behind you. You know, when you used to go out in the old days and you had to have like your auntie or granny walking behind just to make sure there was no foul play. What are those people called? Can you remember?
Pain in the ass?
A pain in the ass, that's it. I'm an Olympic level bruncher. Oh, look at this. Mr. Leisurely Sunday Fun Day gatherings. Catching up with friends, sipping bubbly. Yes. But, well, I mean, you know, we can make up for that in other ways, that particular bit. But cafe life is lovely here. Thank you, Victoria. Good morning to you. Yeah, Cafe Society. Let's take a saunter on the promenade deck. How lovely. We introverts generally start as lurkers and then gradually work our way in. There you go. Just quietly judging everyone else from the periphery there. I'm a very shy guy. And I'll start that group. Good man, Moaz, and ladies, what lunch there? Sploosh. I think it's going back to the story before, isn't it? And Carpe Diem, indeed. What is this? An outbreak of bon mots here. There's nothing to fear except fear itself. And erotic novel entry dad joke hybrid. Do I tickle your fancy? My fancy what? Says James, who is writing all these down, and they will be published as our collective erotic novel at some time in the future. We'll all be rich. James, I found a slug, but it wasn't in the forest, but eating my lettuces. A new name for you. Yes, indeed. It's funny, last night when we went out for our cup of tea, not the constitutional, but a postprandial drink out at the front of our house, we saw slugs. In Slug World, they were running from the veg patch, but from the veg patch. and we couldn't figure out why. The not winners are the first runners up. There you go. There's another way of putting it, Wiley. We can't say the L word anymore.
Nope.
And Wiley sounds like speed dating. Well, I guess that's a possibility as well.
Except for really all women.
Oh, okay, all right. So
we're all men. We don't do mixed that way. But
okay, all right, okay. But that's the thing, isn't it? For the singles who are moving over, it'd be the same sort of strategy, wouldn't it? If you are looking for companionship and company, go to the groups as well, right?
We'll go to the groups, but also going with the ladies group and letting them know that you're single, because almost everybody knows someone else that's single. And it's nice, I think, to be kind of, have someone say.
That's right. It does help if you're on the market, as it were, relationship wise. When I was talking to Mrs. M about this, not because I am, but because I think we must have been talking about a single friend. And forgive us for all the single people who just aren't interested and would wish their couple friends would stop tinkering with their lives in this way. But for those who do want to get into a relationship, you're right. People do want to fix you up, don't they? So get with don't avoid couples, because the couples will want you to be a couple as well, and they'll probably help you out in that regard. Ubi is here. Good day, all. Good day to you as well. It's all very British this morning. Good day, sir. Obrigado, Carl, to ask about my shoulder. It's painful. I am happy that the work continues on the Quinta. My son, Rob, and girlfriend have sent you pictures. Oh, lovely. We will show those tomorrow, I think, now. We're coming up to 10 o'clock. Bananas, slugs, you know the deal here on the Good Morning Portugal show. And Moaz, I want to be Wiley's friend. What's that?
I'm glad, because someone said I could keep my hat on while eating, so that was great.
Ladies now I know. Can keep a hat on for ladies. Is that the men as well, though, when you go inside? If it's a dress hat, I suppose maybe, you do keep it on because it's part of your outfit rather than just your cloth cap or whatever it is you wear every other day, or your straw hat. Il Corte Inglés for hats. There you go.
Ooh, thank you.
Thank you, Anita in Lisbon. Coming to the last few comments now. For you, Wiley, then, did you want to conclude with any more on your guide to loving life in Portugal this morning?
I think that the red thread through all of our conversations is integrate. Find your people, create your community. Don't disregard the fact that you're in another's community, as we are in a Portuguese community. Integrate, incorporate them. And don't be exclusive, just include everybody. And from the shopkeepers to your neighbors to, everybody else. It's the easiest way to kind of just gracefully, be part of another person's. This isn't necessarily our country, and that we are outsiders, but how do we gracefully become insiders so that we don't offend anybody, and that we're welcomed with open arms. And I think that that's kind of how I think you should love life in Portugal.
Thank you so much. Well said. Imagine Carmen Miranda's keeping a hat on. Now, if you do have a hat with fruit on it, it's best not to put it down on the table inside, because people will start eating it, won't they? They'll think it's part of the buffet. But that could mean you could have a cheese hat and all sorts of other types of hat where people are welcome to help themselves and graze a little bit. A brunch hat, possibly. My prized durable purchase was a cork flat cap from Evra. Magical. I go into shops, sharing your experience here, Wiley, I think I go into shops and people automatically use English with me. I did think about church attendance purely to be a part of the community, but not believe. Plus it's cultural. Yeah, give it a go. I don't think it's a requirement of entry anymore, is it, to go into a church? Do you believe? Yes, I do. Come in. Do you believe? Nope. Sorry, you can't come in. Be out of here. I went to a church and the crosses started spinning like helicopter blades. The wrong kind of mushrooms. I don't know. What's he talking about? Do you think that is, or is there a church in Lisbon where the crosses actually spin? Or is that just going on in his own head? Miguel, thanks. And well, igualmente, thank you to you. Obrigado, you, Miguel there. And well said, Mama and Harry. Great to have you here, Mama and Harry, this morning. Join a group that includes Portuguese and engages in something you enjoy and are interested in. For example, a walking group in reply to how to meet Portuguese people. Brilliant. But was worried it would be seen as weird. So nice to know it not be objectionable as don't want to. I don't think you will. I don't think you'll have to show your colours or anything. I think churches in Portugal, I mean, you never know, do you? I'm making a generalization, but I suspect Most churches will welcome you with open arms, and it's not as if there's only going to be 3 people there like in the UK that I'm used to. The church
it's standing room only. Yeah,
they are. Yes, exactly. Standing room only. It's like the Blues Brothers in there. It's amazing. You're welcome to our church's Namaste, says Miguel there. And Carl, you're thinking of a chaperone, not pain in the arse, Wiley. It was a chaperone.
Sorry.
Constitutional is not, but Kent, you're such a gentleman. You would, of course, use the term constitutional there. Yes, chaperone. We're going to miss some of these, I'm afraid, but thank you for letting us know it was chaperone. Word of the day, chaperone. How about a perambulate? Perambulation is a good word. These are all very, very good this morning. Well done. Second. No, we don't use that word. No, you're not going to make me say it. And Ubi loves going to church. Some of my best naps are in church. It's so relaxing. And I generally like the music. Well, there you go. You can sing as well in church, can't you? Isn't that a lovely thing? And then you could join the choir, and then another group you've joined there. If we're committed to practicing our Portuguese, we need to resist the urge to be lazy and convert to English simply because someone speaks to us in English. Resist the urge, everybody. Now, that sounds like a church message and something a vicar might say. Resist the urge, my brethren, and carry on in Portuguese. Ciao for now, everyone, from Francis. And final message for you, Wiley, here. There was one addressed especially to you somewhere here, which was a message of thanks to you, but I can't lay my hands on it right now. Oh, yeah, yes, I can. Obrigado, Wiley. You are lovely. How about that? That's a great message, isn't it?
Thanks, you guys.
Your email address, please, Wiley, so that people can become your friend and also find out about housing and renting and buying, especially in Cascais there. Or actually, maybe I should go to the business directory myself now and make sure. That's what I'll do. When the closing credits are on, I'll make sure everyone's got the link to your business directory listing. Wiley, I thank you. I look forward to the webinar about Cascais specifically. And I wish you a good month.
You too.
Good month. Great to see you. And ciao for now. Have a lovely day over there. Hope it doesn't rain for you. Or in a way, yes, I hope it
does too.
I hope it rains at night and the sun shines on you in the day. Thank you to you
guys. Okay.
And star of the show, new star of the show, Miguel. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now.
Ciao, ciao.
I think you can still see me because I'm trying to find the connection to, yes, Wiley and Partners. I've got it now. Wiley and Partners. Let me put that as a link into. So there wasn't the final and most brilliant segue or conclusion to the show that I could have managed. But here you go. It's important that you have the link to Wiley should you want to get in touch. And there it is onto the screen for you now. And I think we've got an email address to put up there for you to Wiley at wileyandpartners.com. Because she, of course, has a full service team there. Let me make sure that goes in to the chat before we say goodbye today. And wow, an encore. Yes, indeed. Thanks, T-Duck. Yeah, it's incompetence, really, that I wasn't able to get the necessary data information up onto the screen there. I'm going to show you I'm going to play the video again because it'll be a bit of a damp squib, me just putting an email address up on screen. Let's have another look at the turquoise lady going into the sea at San Martino de Porto, and I'll play a little bit of music at the same time.